Welcome in everybody to my channel. Today's video we have the theme of who's been funky stat for the pick a card. We have 5 groups for you to choose from. I read tarot intuitively and sometimes energy. I do want to just remind everybody to keep an open mind when we are doing these readings. While we can sometimes have our point of view challenged, we're generally here for the purpose of growth and insight in some way. It can sometimes come in the form of things like an illumination, so creating an awareness, like bringing an awareness to a situation. It could sometimes look like validation or acknowledgement as well. Many other things you'll always know. Definitely trust your own intuition, your soul, what it is that you feel drawn to, what it is that you feel called to. If it doesn't feel right, don't take it. Very much let your own higher self and your intuition guide the ship here. So I do want to just like let everyone know, if you are new to the channel, welcome. When I read the cards, I do generally kind of go through one at a time. It can be a little bit slow to start off, just while we're sort of piecing everything together, but there often is like key little bits of information that actually tend to be very significant in tying it all together at the end for getting those messages to come through. Sometimes they're streamlined, it's just the way that it is. That being said, group 1. We have the 7 of Knives and the Obsidian. Group 2, we have the Father of Coins and the Tourmaline. Group 3, we have the 3 of Sticks and the Black Onyx. Group 4, we have the 6 of Knives and the Shungite. Group 5, we have the Daughter of Sticks and we have the Silver Sheen Obsidian. So you can take a moment to choose whichever group you feel the most drawn to. Timestamps are in the description. I'll see you at your group. Take care. Okay, welcome in group 1. If you chose the Obsidian and the 7 of Knives, then this will be your group reading today, with the pick a card topic being who's funky stat. Now, I just want to call out a couple of zodiacs to get us started to kick off here. It doesn't matter whether this person actually has these placements, definitely an energy coming through. So there is a good chance they could be the case. So we do have Scorpio and I got Aries, Leo, Sag, and we'll take that and move on. So one thing that I wanted to point out straight off the bat is that we did get like a double confirmation on a 7 of Swords energy here, okay? And so we're first looking at it where it's like in reverse. I just want you guys to know I generally don't take reversals unless I'm like intuitively guided to. And when I did the sort of shuffle to lay out the groups for today, there was only one card that come out upright, okay? So there's definitely something in the energy where things are needing to be looked at for whatever reason. To me, it feels very much like confirmation of the theme being like who's being funky, and half, most of the cards come out upside down. Anyway, all right, so that being said, the Seven of Swords can typically be like a deceptive or strategic energy trying to kind of go unnoticed in some way, or trying to do something kind of behind the scenes potentially. It can be known as the card of like a lying, stealing, cheating as well. But this to me very much feels like, I need to also point out that all 5 groups, we had black crystals today, which is very like protective energy, okay? And so Obsidian is known to kind of like absorb like negative energy instead of like, if you carried it, the crystal would kind of absorb what you would have otherwise potentially taken in. So you're going to make sure you keep it clear, if like cleansed, if you do work with crystals, and that's one that you do work with. Okay, so it is very interesting here that we do have the 3rd house that has come out as well, because the 3rd house generally is to me, it's the house of like communication and the mind. So it's very much like fits in here with a person being in a deceptive energy here, because that very much lines up with that communication. And we do have Scorpio. I'm a total fan of Scorpio, but I have definitely seen some of the flip sides of what that can look like, I guess, in an unhealthy, I don't know, just when it's like unethical behavior, right? And how it can very much just sort of go undetected at different times. This is a probably really good point for me to point out that group 2, if you already felt drawn to it, could have messages for you there, but there is chances, just take it or leave it, like it might and it might not. It could be a different person for you, but it also could be the person that's kind of on the inverse. So like you could come through as either of these people, I'm not sure. You could come through as one of the energies, or it could be 2 different people. So that being said, we'll move on. We also had Neptune, and Neptune can kind of be things that they can sometimes be hard to verbalize, or they can have like an illusionary type of energy, or even a little bit sometimes like a I don't know if I want to say delusional, because it doesn't really feel delusional. Yeah, an illusionary type energy can be hard to make sense of. It can be hard to grasp. It can be, I think it can be like the higher octave of Venus. So there can be a lot of maybe higher, I don't know how to refer to it. I want to say higher learning lessons or something like that. So there could be something there tied in. And I feel like if I see Neptune and Scorpio, part of me just wants to emphasize like discernment, but I feel like that comes through in a lot of our readings, and I'm sure that there's a lot more to it that could really be said for those 2 coming out together. I actually might even have a quick look and just see if we can get something from like a quick Google on what that could look like. So like Scorpio, so what do we have? Neptune in Scorpio, 3rd house. Obviously, this is something that you guys could do if you were interested in it, but there are times where I do feel called to look into it, because there's probably chances are something that I have missed or haven't missed. Okay, so indicates that a mind that is creative, intuitive, and secretive, with a strong focus on communication, thought processes, and short journeys. Okay, so this placement can lead to a love of deep or mystical subjects, but also a tendency towards confusion, being absent-minded, or difficulty with direct communication and assertiveness. Individuals may be drawn to creative expression through writing, or to understanding the psychology and hidden motivations behind people's words, which is, I totally find that to be true. Scorpio to me is very much like wanting to get to the bottom of things, very much wanting to find the truth, like what is the motivations underneath everything. And then I can only imagine how confusing that really would be to have like a Neptune in a Scorpio placement, because while it can be very intuitive, so there can be, I wonder if that's like what this is. So it's like this person could be a person who naturally speaks things that kind of are of a mystical topic or come off mystifying in some way. Maybe the way they communicate is kind of confusing and it's hard to grasp. Yeah, I feel like it's probably this person that kind of does that. So this is the thing that's going to, you could come, I don't know. We have this peace card here. I'd feel like this person could just play like a peaceful face. What am I trying to say? Like they could present a peaceful demeanor, like all they want is peace. But I'm looking at the card and these people just don't look very peaceful to me. They actually kind of low-key look like they want blood or revenge. Like in this moment, it's kind of the energy that I'm picking up. Or that they could be fierce protectors in some way as well. So I wonder if this person could potentially, if they could have the potential to kind of like fire up or read into things more than they need to be, or if potentially it could be this person that actually gets confused by things that people say that are of like a Neptune, I guess, type energy. And they may think that like people are trying to kind of use it against them. I kind of get a little bit of projection with this person. But also, I don't know. I do feel an essence of part of them is like, they could be clever enough that, I don't know, that's sort of a thing that happens, right? Sometimes when people are doing this, they then think like other people are doing it too. So let's just take that with a grain of salt and we'll move on. I did want to say, I forgot to mention at the start too, that we actually had a song come through for group 1, which is like really good energy. And it was Here Comes the Hot Stepper. And the line of the song I was getting was it says like I'm the lyrical gangster, but I was getting it come through like you are the lyrical gangster. So this actually could be you. You could be the person who has the ability, I don't know if you just have charisma off tap or you're like super tactful in the way that you speak. You could be like a person just like you could have a great vocabulary. You could be like a great conversationalist. I feel like, this would be the group that like you would pick up on the things that like people would say and people would not say, and you would just, I think you could like really talk the pants off someone if you wanted to. But I think you could be quick. And I mean, that does really align with like the fire sort of energies that we were getting come through. Like very quick, very on the ball. Like, what is it? Like improv energy. I always get improv energy with the fire signs. They're like, they're not even really, I don't want to say that they're not meaning to, but they're like so on the ball that they don't miss a beat and they can kind of improv on the spot without like really thinking too hard into it. So something to do with that as well. Anyway, and so that looks like something here. So it was like maybe someone was I was getting the word conceal. I was going to say cover up. So someone was trying to cover up or conceal something, some sort of like, I'm getting like a hidden truth. So that's also a key for me to use a different set of cards. I've got the hidden truth oracle cards, but it's like, maybe you did it, you like wanted to hide something, 4 piece, I don't know, is that right? I hid who I really am from you guys. That's confirmation. Yeah, you wanted to hide something like about yourself. Like maybe you didn't feel, I don't know, it doesn't matter why, but there's something here where it was like this feels very intentional. So you could have been trying to hide something about yourself, and even if it doesn't matter where it comes from, right? But it could be like quite simple. It doesn't have to be this big thing. And maybe you, like with this peace card here, you might have not wanted to rock the boat because like I said before, these people don't really look like the most peaceful people. So you could have been kind of faced with a situation where if you did nip and tuck certain things or not, put the information of the whole situation forward, you could have avoided some sort of like serious confrontational energy in some way. So it looks like maybe you were just trying to kind of navigate your way through a situation here where it's like maybe you're just like appeasing people. I don't actually feel like that's the energy. I feel like you're trying to skillfully navigate your way to maintain the peace so that you can get to a point of like actually having the ability to have a dream of some practical real life world goal or steps that you can take to make life better. But there's something here where it's like the energy is like skewed. So I feel like maybe I've just got to say, I feel like this is very neutral. I don't feel like you're some crazy mastermind. I wonder if this is just kind of how you like naturally operate or something like that, where it's like, well, yeah, people don't really need to know everything, or definitely not going to piss them off and wreck my chances of getting through this situation. Kind of, it's like getting through a situation unscathed, right? And then it's like, then I'll have the hope and chance at like some sort of like new beginning or real life or like a real chance to do something. Anyway, and then so I don't know, part of this could be that you're recognizing, part of this new beginning could be you actually recognizing that you have been hiding parts of yourself. Because when sometimes people do this, they're not always so like self-aware, or sometimes you are, but you're not really ready to give it up, right? So I'm trusting that the universe is bringing this to you at a time that is going to be impactful for you and helpful to you in some way, where it's like we could really do something with this, okay? It's at least planting the seeds of awareness, if nothing else. And it's like maybe you sort of have this vision, and then like the overwhelm or the thought of all the things that you want in life, and how do you know what's like the right path to take? Or I don't know, maybe it's like, what are the things that make me feel good? Or what are the things that I want? What are the things that are actually going to be good for me, helpful, nurturing? I don't know. What are the things that are going to be fun? What are the things that it's like it's all about your feelings, okay? That's what it feels like. It feels very feelings driven, and Scorpio can be a very feelings driven energy as well. So sometimes some of the things that you could say could really depend on like your mood or how you are feeling. Some of you, this could be like a very spiritual, like we did have the lyrical gangster come through, right? So some of you could actually be channeling stuff through your words or the things that you say. But there's also this thing with like Neptune of, to me, sometimes I think of that as like connecting to the higher realms and like bringing that down, and it can be very hard to connect the two. It can obviously be lots of other things as well, but it's like there's something here that's not being grasped. So it's like maybe you've never had this many choices before. Maybe you've not had this much freedom before for these things to potentially or possibly be like real world, potentially achievable outcomes. Maybe you're overwhelmed with the choices. Maybe you feel like you struggle to read whether things are like good or not, like good opportunities or situations in some way. Maybe this could speak to relationships as well, where you have a hard time knowing what sort of relationships would actually be good for you. I just feel like sometimes you might still entertain the devil. We don't have the devil card here. I am probably going to take more cards and we'll see how that goes. But I still feel to a little degree that this group, you could potentially entertain the devil. And I mean in like a fun, potentially like the dark side of like self-destructive fun. And things that are kind of tempting. They're not always good for us. They can kind of bleed into self-fulfilling prophecies and negative cycles, like replaying cycles instead of, it's like not wanting to be aware, not wanting to acknowledge the reality of the situation, or being too caught up in the cycle. I don't know, it's something here where it's like, it's maybe, to me, it seems very obvious, and I think that you would know. I feel like you've probably done this many times before, and I don't know, I'm getting something about cheating the system. So for some of you, you may feel like you've discovered some way that you can kind of bypass something to make something easier for yourself. I'm not really sure what that looks like. That may not be for everyone. Take what resonates, but we're also not just like being bleeding hearts and enabling people either. We're just trying to be quite neutral and be like, this is what it is and this is not what it is. So when you're in this space, you very much are taking accountability for yourself, okay? Yeah, I don't know. There is something here where I wonder if it's not that first kind of thing that I mentioned, it could actually be, are you trying to shortcut reaching your goals? Are you trying to shortcut getting to your priorities? Are you trying to shortcut making some sort of decision? Are you trying to shortcut feeling good now? It could really be instant gratification for some of you guys. And I mean, the devil energy could really speak to that as well. And that's part of this cycle. That's part of this, like, this thing replaying. Some of you guys are chasing instant gratification, and I have to tell you, it's just no good for you. If you are doing this and you know you're doing it and you're owning it, I don't know, some of you might know and you might not be ready to change it. I think it might be really hard for you, especially with Scorpio coming through. It might be very hard for you to not be private. It might be very hard for you to feel vulnerable and be open and transparent. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in like a self-protective or self-defensive kind of way. The thing is here is that I think that there's something very genuine. There's something very genuine underneath all this. And I think it's really beautiful. And I have to tell you, I can't understand why you're trying to hide this about yourself. And so I sort of have to ask the question, did something bad happen that made you be protective? Like, did you feel like you need to protect yourself from other people because there was something here that was taken advantage of? I'm not sure. I can feel that that could be very emotionally charged for you. I'm not here to trigger you. I know there quite often in the readings that come through, I'm starting to get goosebumps now. Quite often in the readings that come through, we do get a lot of triggers come up. I do generally try to label trigger warnings on the readings that I feel like that could be a real issue for you. I don't think with this one that we need to. If it kind of comes through in a way that we can't evade, I will list it under the timestamp, but for right now we're going to continue on. So I can feel it could be a touchy subject, but I don't feel like we really need to go into it. We're just kind of acknowledging what's happened, where we're at, why we might do these things that we do. And it doesn't matter if it was like 10 years ago. I don't know how old you are. Like, it doesn't matter if it was 20 years ago. It doesn't matter if it was 2 days ago. I think I'm getting an energy here of like something being very precious. And so I'm not sure, but also potentially fragile as well. And I don't, no connotation. Something being genuinely precious and genuinely like fragile, where people actually could have not been as careful as they needed to be in order to kind of preserve the precious part or parts of yourself or the situation or something about the situation, okay? It could be anything. It could even to potentially speak to children as well. I do have to mention with the third house that we sometimes can have like siblings come up as well. So siblings could be somehow included in this. So with the Seven of Swords here, you might be seeking, we do have people here on the inverse, and we do have more than one sort of situation coming through here. So for some of you, and this could speak to the other person, so flip the energy there if that makes sense for you to do that. For some of you, it's like someone here says that they're seeking peace. I feels like they genuinely want to rectify a situation in some way, and they want to be given the chance to be able to do so, but they're still not really ready and in the energy that would be open, warm, loving, and receptive and accepting to hear another person's truth. It feels a bit more like they would like to crucify someone over a decision or a choice made or something like that. I don't see enough here to know what it was, and I'm not really here to be the judge of this. Like, sometimes spirit comes through in a way that they kind of say, this is what it should have been, and people shouldn't have done that, but today is not that day. Feels like a kind of judgment-free zone. And so for some of you may not have necessarily had access to a safe space to have been able to kind of have this conversation, or to soundboard with someone who could listen and genuinely take in what was happening here in a way that's both validating for you and allows you freedom of expression. but for the purpose of soundboarding. So you can kind of work out whether this Neptunian energy, you're like, you know, it could be very easy to get lost in something here that was said, something about the situation, something weird. If, you know, spirit was involved, understand that the universe can work in weird and wonderful ways. And I just heard not always for our highest good. And I feel the need to correct it, like I'm compelled, or it's compulsory for me to correct. So it's like, that might be something that you could feel, is that, well, you know, why do bad things happen to me? How could that possibly be for the highest good? And I agree that it can be hard, hurtful, potentially traumatic to kind of twist your mind around a concept like that. And I don't want to justify it. I just need you to know that there's probably a greater plan in place, okay? All right, so that being said, what else do we have here? We want to take more cards. So I don't know, this is weird. I was sort of getting like a welcome in group one. So I feel like we've got the bulk of that out of the way. So if you feel like that has resonated for you so far, stick around and we can continue to build on this. If you have felt by this point that it is not being helpful to you, it doesn't sound like something that you have experienced, feel free. Some of you maybe come back in like 6 weeks and check it out if that's something that you wanted to do or felt called to. Otherwise, you could try another group. We did get that mention of group one. We did also get, I just think there is some similar energies there. And like I said, it could have been the inverse, like the other person in the situation. So because with group two, I specifically did get an energy of potentially being one of the following: closed off, protected, private, guarded, or not giving anything away, okay? Or potentially trying to go undetected in some sense. So just take what resonates there, do what's best for you. Don't try to make anything fit that doesn't, but also when we're unearthing things, I realize it can be a little bit tricky sometimes to know what is and is not ours. So discernment practice like no tomorrow. That's the one we want. Okay. This is a weird one. I was sort of getting like a Fleetwood Mac energy as well. So, I don't know if it's like Sarah or Rhiannon. So one of those songs could mean something to you. Yeah, just take what resonates. This is... Some of you may have previously felt discouraged upon seeking out support. But it's like the universe wants to encourage you. But maybe we've been looking for it in the wrong places. I don't know. I'm just taking a moment to see, because I feel like there's something here that's wanting to come through, but something to do with Stevie Nicks. So again, just take what resonates. I'll see if I get something else. No, I'm not sure. Okay. Anything else? We need more cards. Yeah, so we have the Ace of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles here. So definitely like wanting to bring some sort of vision, wanting to like make a start towards some sort of vision here. It feels like a peace offering to me, but it also feels like a goal. Maybe with some of you, you could have gone through a period of time where it was very hard to trust people and you very much wanted more connections. You didn't know what that looked like, what are healthy ones, what are not healthy ones, how do I get there, how do I achieve that? And so you've got this idea or this vision in your mind that you know is very real and practical. You probably know how to get there, but like part of you is still concealing who you are at your core. So it kind of, in some ways, is not being authentic to yourself, and it's not really conducive to what it is that you would want or actually would be good for you. Some of you may still be operating from like old systems and conditioning in some way. I'm not saying that's for everyone, but yeah. Some of you, this has to do with a group of females. So some of you could have felt sold out by the women in your life. Yeah. Okay. I'm not saying everyone was necessarily female, but there's a good chance that the bulk of this came from women. And there's something here too where it could potentially be like the women in your family, where when what I'm almost seeing is like the generational stuff that gets passed on, where it's like through the womb, in vitro, the generational things like trauma, curses, cycles, whatever it is that you want to sort of put into that category. You know, there's such a thing, I'm sort of getting and like the analogy of, I think when spiders die, there's something like in their genetic, I don't know how it works. It's beyond me and it's very mystifying, because it's like if the spider has had the babies and then something bad happens to it afterwards and then it dies, it's like, how does that get communicated or passed on? I don't know. I'm not a spider expert, because it's meant to be like a genetic thing. So what I'm wondering is if like maybe something happens, whether it's before they have babies or not, doesn't really matter. It's not really the point. But let's pretend that a spider loses a leg from, I don't know, a human trying to like kill it or something, and it manages to get away. It has babies, and then there's something there where like genetically the memory comes through in the offspring, even though they've never actually had that lived experience. So I think there's something similar there with like humans with things like snakes, where they're kind of naturally scared of them. I'm sure there's a lot more to that. And so even if this is not directly linked to a specific group of females, it could be like the women, some of this stuff that's playing out could have been passed down from the females in your bloodline. And I think there is something, I was watching something the other day, now I can't remember what it was, where it was actually a Teal Swan reel, of all things. And she was talking about how like women have had to be very manipulative. I think this is closer to, I don't know what to reference. Like, I don't want to say caveman days, but we will, just for the lack of more knowledge, where it's like men had physical advantages over women that were a lot of times often exercised, right, when we were not so developed. And one of the only things that women could do was kind of be manipulative to ensure their safety and whatnot. So to make sure that they were taken care of, to make sure that their children were taken care of, to make sure they could navigate situations with the least possible amount of damage accrued, potentially to soften community blows, because we need community whether we like to admit it or not. I think back then it would have been specifically, this could have come from a time or an era or a place where community was so much, I'm starting to get the goosebumps again, the chills, where it's like the community was somehow so important and significant in the outcome of the help that we would receive, being isolated, whether we would belong, whether we got to partake in things that were good and necessary for us. I'm just hearing necessary evils, so potentially leading or bleeding into codependent dynamics, where it's like, okay, well, I'll put up with this from you if you put up with this from me, or I'll put up with this from you, kind of like that covert contract way, where as long as you do this for me, that's fine, I can deal with that. And it's hard, because it's like, I always, you know, I have Neptune in the third house, and trying to wrap your mind around grasping the concept sometimes of what is a fair, reasonable compromise, because we are all human, and what is tolerating utter BS that we not necessarily should, where we're just accepting below par standards. So take from that what you will. I think there's a lot of here that needs to be unpacked, or that you've already been working through unpacking. There could be something here that will, I don't know if it's a case that it takes many moons, or there's a certain moon or a certain time of the month that a lot of this stuff will really rear ahead. So I know sometimes it's going to be different for everyone, right? But I know sometimes that the new moons are just as potent and powerful as, say, the full moon energy is for different points and purposes. So I feel cool to share, like, you could potentially wake up in the middle of the night and then find yourself out in the backyard, the balcony, outside, staring at the window even, at the moon, and almost not really knowing. You might know, you might just have a very clear knowing, almost like a claircognizance or something, or almost potentially being in a meditative state or a state of awe or wonder or something like that, where it's like, you know, something is changing, something in the energy is changing. This is a time for something new or different, potentially a time for manifestation as well. So the Seven of Cups can really be that for me. And so what this could look like is potentially letting go of the ways that we have had to previously navigate life that no longer serve us now, potentially don't speak to our authentic personhood. It's like we're reclaiming our authenticity. I often get that with Scorpio. It's like it is deep transformational energy. It's like rapid transformation too. And I want to say it's like painful transformation, but it's like, I don't know. I don't want to get too off track. Okay, so what else do we have here? I feel like this is actually everything. I feel like we've really come to a head here. Okay, so I was actually trying to say about the Seven of Cups potentially being a manifestation energy. So maybe when we're able to put down this attachment to our goals, so it's good to know what we want. It's good to be able to envision them, but it's also good to not be so attached that it will, I don't know, like we need to take ownership for our life. We need to take the necessary steps and put the work into our goals to get there. But if we are so attached to that being the only possible outcome or a certain way that it looks like that it needs to play out, instead of letting the universe kind of co-coordinate with us to bring that to fruition in a way that's literally for ours and everybody else's highest good, we can really shortcut ourselves on our own growth and development. And I have to say with Scorpio here, you're not getting out of it, right? Like it's not really a choice. It's going to happen whether we like it or not. So if we can find a way to let go, I know it can be hard, whether you have Scorpio placements or not, it can be hard to let go of an outcome that we may have with the perceived, I don't know, we have some type of attachment, right? And we have this perceived outcome, we really want it, and it can be very hard, especially if we have been experiencing lots of turbulent times. If you connect with spirit, if you pray to spirit, if you speak with spirit, if you have an open dialogue with spirit, I feel like now is your time to connect in. Get very clear. Really think about what's for your highest good and opening everything up. And I feel like I also have to say with this group, some of you could potentially resonate with, if you have been on a spiritual path, that maybe when you've done this in the past, you've really had to let go of a lot of things in your life. And I need to say some of them feel like they could have potentially come into your life in some type of Neptunian type energy where there potentially was sort of illusions or something like that, or scorpionic things where things were kind of under the radar. It's like Tower energy, and Scorpio invaded Israel by Mars as well, where you open, you understand, you let go, you're like open to the highest good for the universe, for you, for everybody. You let go, you've done a lot of your work, you're in alignment, you're letting things come through and work out as they are and unfold. You're standing in your power, you're connecting with yourself, you're living in alignment, you're speaking your truth is very important. If you cannot speak your truth, I just feel, I don't know why for this group, I feel like if you need a crystal, go get yourself a blue crystal. I don't know. It's so much more important. Oh, I want to cry. I don't know if you guys, like, it looks like you guys have not been allowed to potentially speak your truth if it's not a case of not feeling like you could, okay? Like that whole rocking the boat energy that we had there. And like when I look at this card, this lady, her headdress is blue. Part of the decorations, what am I trying to say? Like the colors of her dress is blue. And it's like being fierce in our authenticity and who we are and not giving that up for anyone and being rooted and grounded in that, and that it's okay for me to be that. I don't know what that is, but I just, yeah, it's like not, there is a card in one of the archetype decks, I forget who the author is, and it's the prostitute card. And one of the attributes that they talk about is basically not giving away or giving over our sovereignty to other people in order to kind of, it's like not giving away our sovereignty or our authenticity in order to get by. It's kind of, I almost want to go through and find it, but I know that it's put away. And I feel the need to say, when we have the third house come up, and specifically when we have Neptune come up, it's very important that we are as clear as we can be, so that we leave less room for confusion. Okay, so that's everything that I have for you today, Group 1. Much love to you all. I hope that this is helpful to you on your journey, and that you take care of yourselves. And yeah, I'll see you in another one. Definitely, if this resonated, like, comment, subscribe, all the good things. And yeah, we'll catch you later. Okay, welcome in Group 2. If you chose the Tourmaline and the Father of Coins in reverse, then this will be your group reading today for Who's Being Funky. Yeah, this, I just need to mention with this group that this could potentially be like the inverse for Group 1 as well. If you already felt drawn or called to or interested in checking that out, you're welcome to do that. Okay, so I did get a message for Group 2 when I tried to tune into the energy before starting the reading today. I was getting like very wish-washy energy. I was specifically guided to light a candle to help like clarify anything that may come through. They specifically said, get yourself some clarity. So whatever it is that you do that you personally find helps you to kind of, you know, bring in clarity would be fantastic. I do feel like this group could potentially have a demanding schedule, but there's something here where it's like highlighting the importance of it. It's like, if you can, I think it would be like favorable or very helpful or something. Otherwise, yeah, it wouldn't come through if it wasn't. Okay, now we also had, it was very hard trying to get a read on this energy, right? So there's something here, whether it is, all these things I need to say could be relative to this person of Who's Being Funky. So they could actually be real wish-washy. They may not be coming from a place of clarity, although the message was specifically for the audience to get yourself some clarity. Maybe because they are wish-washy, it could actually be hard for you to like get a read on the situation, to be able to tell that they even are being funky, or maybe there's like a couple people in your life that you're not really sure if someone's being funky or not. So it's like getting that clarity. But I was getting messages here of like a person being closed off, I guess self-protective, private, guarded, or not wanting to give anything away. And the question we were being prompted with is, are you trying to go undetected? And so I do have to say, some of you could be the person coming through where it is in fact you who is being funky stat. But again, take what resonates, because it is not necessarily the case for everybody. So if there's something coming through that you know that this message is not for you, don't make it fit. Leave it for the people that it does resonate with, and maybe check in another time or with a different group or different video. All of my videos are timeless. I do feel called to mention that too. So specifically if there is like a different topic or theme that you are interested in, there's plenty there that you could go back through and have a look where they are titled, and hopefully find something that is helpful to you or in closer vibration or match and alignment at this point in time. And with that being said, we will get closer started with Group 1. So, Group 2. So again, confirmation for Group 1. Okay. So we have the Fool, King of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, Seven of Swords. I just straight up have to say, some of you there could have been a relationship, a divine counterpart that fell apart from someone not realizing the value of what it was that they have, thinking, I don't know, man, people are deceptive for all sorts of reasons, but I just feel like this person would have sworn black and blue. They would have been like, deny, 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 when they were called upon, whatever their ish was. They could have been very tricky. They could have been quite skillful at being quite tricky. It could have been smooth operator. And it very much was their wish fulfillment to kind of come off as a person who was very carefree and unorchestrated, like very naturally candid and spontaneous in their energy and the way they present. But also this could speak to something where if it was not about a divine counterpart, or could be, you know, continuing on from that, where this person could have been like very money orientated. It's just very black and white for me right now, where the goal was like money, riches, luxurious items, possessions. I don't know, like the lifestyle, having the Beamer, having, I don't know, the Merc, whatever your car. I don't know, I'm sure there's cars out there that are more expensive than that, but like that's kind of the energy that I'm getting come through, okay? So it doesn't mean that this person was necessarily a high roller, although I feel like that could have been in alignment with their vision, if that makes sense, okay? I think that the way that this person would portray themselves would be particularly important, that they would very much like to make themselves, that I feel like they could be potentially quite self-important, but they could also potentially be a person who likes to really dress up and like gather the attention in like a divine feminine-esque type way. It would be like putting a Venus spin on an earth sign. So with the mention of earth, because we do have pentacles several times here with the King of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, and the Father of Coins is also the King of Pentacles. So this could have been, I'm feeling more Taurus, but it could have been like Capricorn, or is it Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn? Yeah. Okay, and we want to take more cards. This is very weird for me to have earth sign energy come through. Like, I can understand how we could have people wanting to go undetected, especially using the deck that I've chosen today, where it's very much like something can look one way on the surface, but really it's very different underneath. Or it could be like very much like how we're portraying ourselves, or how people perceive us versus how we are. I think I just said the inverse of that. Okay, we're going to quickly do Astro Dice first. This, I do need to say, for some of you, this person may just be highly skilled at what it is that they do, and there could potentially be a level of projection here upon this person where maybe they're so skillful at something that they're not really, I don't know, I could have two groups come through here in group 2 as well. This person, I think you would know. There could be a level of projection here, and I think if you really ask yourself the hard question or really observe their actions without a bias here, that ego set aside, bias set aside, you know, are they really manipulative, or are they so skillful that it could definitely be conflated with or confused for being manipulative? I don't know. I think you are the person in the situation. You know more about it than I do. I'm just passing on the messages that come through, okay? So we do have Mercury here with the 10th house and Aries. So definitely reputational energy, definitely. We did have the Magician, which is actually Mercury as well. So confirmation on Mercury, which is that communicative type energy. It is the very skillful energy. It is very adept, very good at whatever it is that they do. Can be a little bit like opportunistic in ways. It can kind of be, how do I say it, like a... just having an eye for detail and an eye for opportunity and a knowing how to get there. It's like a clever energy. It could potentially be quite cunning. With the words that I'm using, it could dip into either side here, okay? 10th house is reputational. Aries, to me, I don't know. Aries, I feel like it confuses people sometimes. Not specifically, because it's actually the opposite of its energy, right? Aries is generally pretty direct, pretty upfront, pretty clear, kind of like, I don't know, like if anything you would think it would not be a confusing energy. For me, I personally find Aries energy to be quite stoic. I know that is not always the case for many people's experiences that they have with a person that may potentially have like the Aries placements, and to that I would say that there could be something else in their chart that could be kind of contributing to that, or when they're faced with a particular situation. Anyway, so something here where this person could be coming off quite stoic in their reputation or their career focused energy. We definitely have career focused energy here as well. But with Mercury and the 10th house, I feel like this is very much about perception. So maybe this person, they could have Aries placements. They could have the, so far we're doing a quick recap, just in case we're getting too ahead of ourselves. We have Aries, we have Virgo, we have Taurus, and we have Capricorn. This person may want to be perceived as Aries. They may want to be the boss. They may want to be in charge. They actually could be the boss and in charge as well. And there's something here in the way that they communicate that and actively demonstrate that precedes them in their reputation and their presence. It's like undeniable that this person is this way. I do feel called to speak to the Tourmaline. So Tourmaline, all of the crystals, if you didn't notice, were black for our pile choices today. Black crystals are typically very protective energy. Tourmaline is a repellent. It is kind of like a shielding repellent. I am getting something about like EMF protective coming through. So if you are in the workplace environment or dealing with a lot of EMF disturbances or distortion, that could be something that would be quite helpful for you. Can be very good for psychic attack as well, if there are those of you who are in that realm. But in the general day-to-day here, I feel like there could be some sort of like bodily preventable bodily accident or something weird where that could be helpful. And I just take what resonates. You know, if you're into all that and that's very much up your alley, then definitely like do what you can to just be mindful. Definitely not here for fear mongering or anything like that. I do believe that there is, in essence, and I feel like with this group, I might not really need to tell you that like living in fear is not the answer. Okay, it's very much if thinking into things like that is going to be too much, just, we'll ignore it and move on with life, right? Nothing like a higher vibration, nothing like a being grounded in life and not being attached to outcomes, okay? All right, so this person, I feel the need to talk more about the way that they dress because I do feel like it could particularly be fancy. There could be, I don't feel like this person is keeping up with the Joneses. I feel like they are setting, I wanted to say the record, but I'm talking about clothes. So this person could be like the trendsetter. This person could be the person who deems like what is and what is not cool, what is and what is not quality, what is and is not, I don't know, like classic. There's something weird. This person could dress very properly. I mean, we do have other cards here that would say otherwise, but there is something here where this person could be quite put together. They could demonstrate themselves to be elegant. They could speak in such a way that, yes, they command attention and respect and potentially control, or they just have that in-charge energy. They could be quite suave or put on a charm if they needed to with that Mercury being there. But I think there's something there where it's like there would not be a lot of mistaking what they say. But this person could be very good at like speaking in innuendos as well. All right, so there's a little bit of like a trickiness. Okay, where are we at? What else is going on? So that blends into that wish-washy energy where we're talking about potentially confusion and stuff, and then like needing clarity to be able to. I just feel like with this person that if you're not watching them directly and paying attention, undivided, clear attention to them, or you don't have clarity at the time, like if you just generally have too much going on or not enough mental broadwit, what am I trying to say? Broadband. This, I feel like right now I am demonstrating this, that you could just have a lot on your plate or be busy or be carrying a lot on the mental load. Your bandwidth for your mental energy, your capacity could really impact the level of information and attention and accuracy in what you're observing. Okay, I feel like it wouldn't take much to miss something that this person says or does before all of a sudden, boom, 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 dominoes have fallen into place and it's all played out. And I don't even feel, there's something here where I don't feel like this person is particularly like cold and calculated, although they could definitely have a potential to come off that way. I feel like they're just very strategic. They know what they're doing. They're making moves. They're taking their steps, and they're just like boom, 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 like it all falls into place. I don't know how to. Do you know? I sometimes have like the air signs come through in potentially more of a calculating energy, and it's like it should not be, the word calculated should not necessarily be confused with being strategic, because even though they can sometimes overlap a lot, I feel the need to clarify this for this group. I don't know if I'm needing to demonstrate a point here. So we're going to do a quick definition search and see what we get. Okay, so we want calculated definition. Okay, so it's an adjective of an action. So done with full awareness of the likely consequences. What have we got more here? Is there something in demonstration? It's like a mathematical equation of the outcome and the intention of an action to have a particular effect. Yeah, and there's like a level of like belief to go along with that, understanding something would play out a certain way, I guess. All right, so we've looked at calculated. Let's look at strategic definition. Okay, this one. Okay, so we have relating to the identification of long-term or overall aims and interests in the means of achieving them. Designed or planned to serve a particular purpose, relating to the gaining of overall or long-term military advantage. What else do we have? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, take it as you will. I feel like there comes a point where it is meant to mean something for you. Okay, I'm gonna take more cards. I am getting something here about like a reputational energy that is being confused. That seems to just be coming through strongly again. Yeah, we have the moon and the Six of Swords, and the moon can be kind of a confusing energy, or things not being seen clearly, or things happening behind the scenes or in the dark, or potentially even playing into like a little bit of fear as well. I don't really feel as much fear, but that's okay. I'm just getting like maybe things aren't always what they seem, okay? And then we have the Six of Swords here, which is the card of like moving on. So it actually says moving on, departure, leaving something behind, distance, and accepting lessons. There's something about the situation that very much just needs acceptance, and then taking the active steps to move on and to leave whatever this is behind, okay? So that should hopefully help. And now I do need to say with Aries, Aries can also come through as like a paternal, I'm getting like a paternal lineage kind of energy. So whether that is just a father, whether that is, I'm saying Aries, but in my mind, I'm imagining the Emperor. So the Emperor can be the card of a father, potentially. If that is not the case, that it is necessarily your father, it could have been a partner who fathered a child with you. If that is not the case, it is again going back to this person potentially having been in charge, where they're like a director, a boss, potentially CEO. I don't know. They could just be like a very large and in charge person, where their reputation really is at the forefront of everything that they do in some way, okay? Or sense. We're only going to take one more card before I think we start to wrap this up. I do feel like this needs to kind of be a little bit more short, sharp, clear, to the point for this group. So, I mean, it seems to be coming through reasonably well. So it was like, who's being funky? I think it's just a lot of like how this person portrays themselves and plays up to other people's perceptions. And they're very like adept at it or well aware. But I think they just, because of that whole strategic thing coming through, I think they've got a clear eye. Aries can be quite clear as well. So they actually have like a clarity for what it is that they want to do and how they want to be perceived. That's really helping them. This person could potentially want to portray themselves as having some type of grand energy as well, if it is not something that they naturally exude. Speaking to the fire signs, that definitely could line up as well. Maybe more when I would like think of Leo potentially, but I mean different things for different people. It doesn't have to be the embodiment, okay? It's very much like a regal energy. It's very much like sun, solar energy. It's like what it is that you see about me. There could also be something here to do with the solar plexus. So this person could be quite proud and they could be quite ego driven in some way. But for whatever reason, it seems, it does seem a bit self-serving here, but it does also seem to work very much for them. Okay. And so we also have the 9 of Wands. Wait, it's not 9 of Wands. It's 6 of Wands. I just want to take a moment with, yeah, I get like a boss here again. I mean, 6 of Wands can be like overcoming challenges, notoriety, being successful. Yeah, really good reputational energy here. And I feel like there's confirmation here with the sun in the background. So we did already talk about Aries. We got Leo. I feel like fire signs, so I'm going to throw Sagittarius in there as well. But we also have the moon, so potentially like water signs like Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. I do get very strong Leo energy now that I can look at the cards more. This very much could be a leader energy, a director energy, manager energy. I don't know. It's very much like a leader. There's a group of people here watching, ready to kind of follow something like that. So, I just think it's important that you just remember that whatever you see with this person is not necessarily always the case, even if that's how they portray it. And they could portray it in a very straightforward manner. And I think it could look very real, and parts of it could be very real. Sometimes, like, I don't know if it's like a saying or something, but like, I think sometimes the best lies, they have like half a truth to it or an ounce of truth in it, right? To make it like very believable, because people can't deny the truth part that they know. Yeah, and I just think there's something here with this person. They're in a spotlight position. If nothing else, they're in a spotlight position. And I feel like they're generally kind of celebrated or adored here in some fashion. So, I don't know, man. Anyway, woman, doesn't matter. Okay. That's everything that I have for you today, Group 2. Hopefully this is helpful to you all in some way. If these videos resonate with you, definitely like, comment, subscribe, or share if you feel called to. I don't know, I feel like if this resonates for you and you're feeling the goods, you know, you're getting something out of it, definitely engage with it so that, you know, it can sharpen the algorithm for other people to, you know, be able to find. So I feel kind of called to say that. But anyway, take care, guys, and I'll see you all in another one. Thank you. Bye. Okay, welcome in Group 3. If you chose the, is it Onyx? There we go. And the 3 of Sticks. This will be your group reading for today on who's being funky. There definitely seems to be something in the energy in terms of Scorpio, but just take what resonates here. You or this person could have currently be embodying a Scorpio energy if there are not Scorpio placements present. When I was looking at the 3 of Sticks card, I was getting another card from another deck, the Light Seers. I was seeing the 3 of Wands from that deck. And there was like a girl with a surfboard sort of staring off into the horizon, into the distance, where she's sort of standing at like the top of the beach, about ready to kind of run down and grab a wave. And it very much was like her going after something that she wants, and like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. being very in the moment, okay? And so I did get a message before I actually started today's video for group 3. The first person to cross the shore wins the race. And so there's something here where they actually are, like, you know, I guess making that known for you, but it seems very encouraging to me. And so we also have the 9 of Wands here. So I actually wonder with some of you if you are maybe not so likely to want to go after something so overtly or with such drive or passion or something here, because you feel like you've been bitten before, or you feel like things haven't worked out. You could potentially be feeling a little bit jaded or something, I'm not sure. But there is like the King of Pentacles, and I feel like you're being called to and asked to step up and embody this like grounded, routine energy. Some of you actually feel like you're being asked to or called to work out. And so I understand that the point of this reading is who's been funky stat, but we do sometimes get messages come through for us that are meant to be helpful, okay? And so there could be something here where, whether this is relative to your energy or this other person's energy, this person could be a person who particularly takes good physical care of their bodies. They could be a person who does work out, exercise regularly, eats good clean foods. They could be a little bit distrustful of people. They could be a little bit jaded. They could have a goal, you know, something that lights them up, that makes them very driven, and they're just waiting for their moment, waiting for the right moment, the right opportunity, so that they can kind of, you know, have their minute, their moment, their, I don't know. We do also have the 7th house here with Scorpio and the North Node. So this very much feels like an embodied North Node energy to me. With the 7th house, that can speak to relationships. And with Scorpio, I'm not sure. You could be being asked to keep certain things to yourself, okay? So we'll take that if that resonates. Just, I don't know, don't take it if it doesn't. We'll keep going. I'm not taking that. All right. I think something that you're currently doing is hard work. I think that this person has a wish for, I don't know, it's not you. This person, I mean, you could be on the inverse of this, right? Just keep that in mind, that you could flip the energy, but you could currently be struggling with your load, and you're really wanting some friends to help lighten the load, but it doesn't really, I don't know, seem like it's for the reasons of simply just having friends around. It seems like so they could help ease the burden in some way. For some of you, this is actually this person that's coming through who's been funky. This person has an agenda here where they would, you know, the goal, the wish would be that they had people around that could kind of help them lighten the load in some way. And this doesn't have to be physically, or for some of it, it's like this person may just not really, I don't know, it's so weird because they look very driven, like they're waiting for their moment, but then it looks like they're really struggling carrying the load. And so they're kind of wishing for like a group of people that will just come in and support them with their dreams. And we have the 3 of Wands here again. So it's like a double confirmation on that. It's like that watchful, waiting, ready to seize the moment energy. I'm going to take more cards. This person very much seems like they have a plan. So they could be actually, this person could have their eye on you as someone that they would like to bring in as a friend or a supportive person in their life in some way. Even if this actually does look like some sort of employment dynamic, it very much is like them wanting to bring you in because I think that they see that you are very skilled or driven, or maybe something about you is very responsible, or you've got it sorted in some way. And so like they kind of see that and they're like, they want that, but they want it so they could capitalize on it, if that makes sense. And so the next card that we had was the Nine of Swords. And there's something here where some type of conflict in the situation. You could be at odds with this person, or I don't know. I am getting something here potentially where this person may not like the freedom that you want or require, or just, yeah. Take what resonates there. Okay, what else do we... I'm going to take another card. The more I get into this group, the more I start to actually feel a little bit tired. So, I mean, that could speak to that 10 of Wands, where it's like this person could be feeling quite tired. There's, I wish things could be different. So, this person could have had a goal that somehow left you in a situation feeling betrayed or a bit jaded here, so that they could kind of claim some sort of higher status. And it's like, when that happened, they could have been, I don't know if they wanted you to carry the load. Like, I feel like this is a bit of both. Like, it could be like two sets of messages for the same reading here, where it's like, on one hand, they wanted you to carry the load and they were going to sit there smug and watch you while they enjoyed a good time with friends or something. They wanted to see you carry some type of burden, like potentially like an ego or defensive burden, whatever that may look like, that would cause you some sort of stress or anxiety or something. It's like they wanted to push you or test you and see what they could get away with, and what they could slow you down or weigh you down with. And they wanted you to know that they were the person who did that to you, and they wanted you to acknowledge that they had the power in the situation, that they could capitalize on some sort of social situation here with that having come through. And now I think they're finding themselves on the other end of this, where it's like, oh shit, it's actually really shit and a really heavy load for me to carry here without group 3. I wish I could get back in with them, but like, and it's like, I think to them, they have these really raw, real moments where they're like, I wish things could be different. But like, they just still don't seem so genuine. Like, it's kind of like, maybe parts of it is very genuine. Like, yes, they want people that will support the dream, but it's really to alleviate their own stresses or their own anxiety or their own situation. Like, it doesn't really seem like they want you there because you're all going to do it together. I don't know, man. Like, maybe part of it is that, but I just think they would just like to capitalize on these other factors at the same time, right? So they could... I wish things could be different. It looks so genuine to me, but I just see their face and I just think, you look so smug. You look so happy with yourself after whatever it is that you put group 3 through. And it's like, who's being funky? Hopefully this helps you understand. And I mean, the 7th house, I was a little bit like unsure of what that had to do with the reading when we first pulled it, but it connects in with friendships in some way or connections in some way. So this person could have tried to capitalize on some sort of social or friendship situation here. And they could have actually, I don't know if it was like a sabotaging energy or trying to go unnoticed or something. I don't know. We're not going to read into it too much if it's not clear. Okay, so what else? I'm just going to take a moment and to see if I can pull anything else through, because this seems pretty clear. I don't really know if I need to talk too much more about anything. No, that's a wrap, guys. So yeah, who's been funky? You know, I am seeing like earth signs and water signs here, so just take what resonates. Hopefully this is helpful to you all in some way. If it is, definitely like, share, comment, all the good things. I said share. I'm like, subscribe if you haven't, you know, for more readings like this for sure. Okay, so yeah, ciao. Okay, welcome in group 4. If you chose the 6 of Knives and the Shungite, then this will be your group reading today for who's being funky with you. I was just getting a song come through by Bruno Mars. It's like 24K Magic. And there's part of the song that says like, I don't know, just for the sake of YouTube, I'm gonna, slightly alter it, but it was like, I don't muck with you. So this is probably someone who's very much on your radar already. Shungite is known to be a protective crystal as well. I don't feel like I'm telling you or teaching you anything new here that you don't already know. We do have Mercury, the second house, and Leo. Is it Leo? It's Cat. No, it's Leo. Yeah, okay, cool. So, Mercury, 6 of Swords. So it's in reverse. You could be wanting to kind of move out of some sort of situation with this person that you currently don't have a way out of, so that you can have some sort of time for healing, a renewal, regeneration, to work on things that matter to you, your soul, to humanity. Or things that you would maybe right now you're currently holding on to some sort of hope or looking for inspiration, positivity, faith, renewal, healing, rejuvenation. We just had a little bit of double confirmation there. And the ability to take charge of your own life, to be the decision maker in your own life, to not really have people kind of standing in your way or trying to actively stop you, and that if they tried to, that they wouldn't be able to rock you in any way where they could kind of take away, your sole decision making ability. Okay, so very strong messages coming through here. I am getting something here where this person may want to potentially suck up all the air in the room. So they could talk a lot. They could talk about things that you find to be unnecessary, irrelative. They may want a lot more time and attention than you have the capacity or ability to give them, or that you would even deem necessary or would like to in some way. There's also something here. So they could have quite strong characteristics where they could be quite, I don't know, I wanted to say quite the character, but I don't know if that's right. They could have a leader-esque energy. We do have Leo, Aquarius, Aries, Mars energy coming through here. So all leadership energies and qualities. And what else do we have? I think that's like the most potent part of that. There is something here while you're in this person's presence or in this situation where you will be required to be very diligent, very disciplined. Let something about the cycle just kind of play out until you can actually get to that point where it becomes available to you to find some way out of it or something like that. It's like for some of you, this could be part of like playing out a cycle. Just for confirmation that I hadn't already mentioned, so we've touched on Leo, Aquarius, and Aries. We also have Scorpio and Taurus here. I'm also actually seeing Capricorn as well. Okay, so yeah, it wouldn't hurt to be quite disciplined or routine during this time in this situation, like just doing the things that you know you're meant to do, just holding up kind of your end of the bargain. I don't know. Something here about just being disciplined, but also it's like a weird clean cut energy. So take what resonates there if that means anything to you. It's something here where it's like while this cycle is playing out, this is a really good and important time for you to be mindful of what it is that you want in life, your priorities, your values, what it is that you would like your life to look like, your manifestation. So what we're going to do, I feel like for this group, you need to get a piece of paper. You need to write down 7 things that you want in your life or that you want your life to look like, and it doesn't matter how you're going to get it. And I want you to sit there with each one of the 7 points. Spirit wants you to. I'm just passing on the message. Sit down with point number 1 and just close your eyes and take a couple breaths and just imagine what that would look like. And then we can think how nice that would feel and what it would look like and maybe who would be there and how that would unfold. That's fine. You don't have to go into it too long or make it anything bigger than it needs to be. Just whatever feels right within you. When you feel like you've got to that point, we can just go, okay, if that's meant for me, then that'll happen. We can get there when that time comes, okay? And then you can peacefully release it. We don't have to be attached to it. We are where we are right now. Yes, that would be very nice, but maybe there is something in this moment that I am meant to learn. There is a point and a purpose to this time, reason or rhyme, whether I necessarily am in a good position or a bad position, okay? There's something here where I'm getting very much like a wheel energy where the tables will turn. So you can trust in that. You can trust in spirit. You can trust in the universe. I don't know what point on the wheel that you are at right now. If you are, some of you, I feel like you could potentially still be on your way down before you come back up again, okay? So this could be like a dip or a blip or a moment in time that could be a little bit unsettling for you or uprooting or something like that here. I do feel like you wish that you had more power in the situation here than you do, but this is part of what the situation is. It is also point and purpose for getting to know yourself better, shining the light on yourself. I am hearing inner demons, so we are potentially looking at our own inner demons. We do have the Hermit showing up here with Virgo as well, and so it can be the introspective energy, but it can be the inner critic being undervalued. So some of you may not be valuing your inner critic here, or the something here where maybe your inner critic is, I don't feel like you have a harsh inner critic here. It's hard to say. Maybe you do. And if it is a very harsh inner critic, it almost needs to be not valued. But I think the stronger message here is that we need to be kind of fact checking our critic. Like, does our inner critic have a different agenda that we're not really aware of or privy to? Is there something here that would feel nicer to us for that to be the version of the truth that exists? It's very important to go within. It's very important to take time. Some of you may need to take time when you are quiet by yourselves. It doesn't matter whether it happens day or night time. Quite often that could be something that comes up. If you wake up in the middle of the night and you're having trouble sleeping, boom, perfect time to do a little bit of shadow work if that's something that you're in for, if you don't already struggle with sleep issues. And so with this, we have self-reflection, introspection, contemplation, withdrawal, solitude, search for self. So it's very much could be a time too where you are not necessarily, like, I do see you being alone. I do see, like, it's not that you're not coming into contact with people, but I feel like this could be a part or point of the journey where you are on your own for the most part. Like, maybe at different stages of life, you've always had like family or friends around or a partner or something. This could be a time of life where it's very much you, and it's like you yourself and you. And there's something here where part of this cycle playing out, it's like super significant, important. I was gonna say incremental. It's not the right word. This always happens to me. It's like this, you cannot get to where you want if you do not do this part of the situation. Like, it's not really a question. It's not really a choice. And this is the second time that I've had this kind of come through. I know that Mercury is in retrograde right now. I did have another group that Mercury kind of come out in, specifically. I think it might have even been 2 groups that had Mercury come out, which is interesting. This feels very Saturn dominant energy to me, right? It will play out how it does. It's a part of our lessons. It's a part of kind of cleaning our act up some ways. Saturn has a way of doing that. Saturn has a way of humbling us a little bit. We do have Virgo here with the Hermit. So it can be a very humble energy. And that is kind of, maybe we're being asked to go into an energy, or maybe this is part of what will happen along the way when we do start to look within. It could potentially be a humbling experience. It could potentially be humbling to our self-worth, or it could be illuminating parts of ourselves so that we can, build on our self-worth, right? I don't feel like there's anything particularly bad here. I'm getting the word conniving come through, so I'm not sure if they're trying to highlight that you're not particularly conniving, or that there's nothing bad here. but somehow the word conniving could tie in, so take what resonates there. I don't feel like that's for everybody. It's like really shining the light on the things that we either have not had the ability to see or that we have not wanted to see. We are being asked to be faced with it during this time. I feel called to say that it would be much, I don't like giving a message like this, but I feel called to say that it would be more enjoyable for you if you are able to either let go and let them kind of take the wheel and steer the ship, or if you are able to just embrace the process in some way. And so I understand that it could be confronting when we're talking about pulling torches out, shining them on things like our inner demons that we're not necessarily so comfortable with or maybe not aware of that are there, okay? I feel like Spirit is holding your hand through this process, even though there will be many a times where it does not feel like that, or you could be confused as to how you could receive a message possibly like that, given your circumstances or situation, okay? So I do feel like, as much as this seems like a bit of a harder message or a firm message, if nothing else, Spirit does love you. They do want the best for you. They want the best for your highest good. They want the best for your development as a soul. And I feel like there's something here where if this part of the process did not happen, it's like, it would not be the best. It's like sometimes Saturn has a way of whipping us into shape a little bit, and the process is hard, but when we come out the other sides, it's like a lot easier to understand, okay? So I'm not really going to ask that of you too much. It's maybe less of an understanding energy and more just an embracing the situation that we're in, right? I also am seeing the Aries symbol in my mind, and we do have the Emperor here as well. So there could be something here where you could just be a person who naturally will grab the bull by the horns, grab the situation head on, and just kind of jump in. And if that's not a case that you're naturally like that, you could be being asked to just, so readily accept or embrace it. And I don't know, it's like confronting it, being an active participant in confronting whatever it is that's coming up. Okay. What else do we have here? So 10 of Cups. So this is very much part of your path and how you can get to where you want to be. This will be the thing that brings in the good things later on. So it might take a while to get there. This could be a lengthy process. We talked about it being humbling. But I think there's something here that, like, when you get to a point that the good part of this starts to really come through, I don't know if you could have ever conceived what that would have looked like for yourself. Like maybe if you sat down and tried to write it out. I don't know, like we're being told to manifest here and vision and get to know these things about ourselves and what it is that we like and we value and want to prioritize and what means a lot to us and what gives us hope and stuff. What fills us up on the inside. There's something here where I still just seeing, even though it's a very important part of this message, where it's like, I don't think we could truly understand how good it's going to be when we come out the other side of whatever this stage of life is that we're in, whenever we're able to get to this new point. And I think that when you see it turn out the way that it does or it will, if you're able to embrace this, we're having happiness, homecomings, fulfillment, emotional stability, security, domestic harmony. It seems like utter peace. Peace that is fulfilling in all the ways that make our soul warm, as if we just received or were embraced by another person's warm, kind gesture or hug or something like that. We are around people who are supportive. We have family and friends. We have some close relationships that mean a lot to us. We get to pour into the things that give us joy in life, okay? It feels very nice. And I feel like it's confirmation with the rainbow on this card. Rainbow, to me, it's like one of the higher energies that can kind of come through in terms of energy. As well as like white, gold, purple, just take what resonates there. Not that that necessarily matters that much, but for those of you, maybe someone here it will. Part of this is you following your path. Part of this is your North Node. It's what you're meant to do. If there are times where you're questioning it, it's like you're just being asked to kind of just follow it, right? Something, maybe when you reminisce, it could be a little bit of a sore point for you, but I think that there will be a great level of depth, evolved emotion, growth, a capacity. It's like an increase in capacity. So it's kind of like maybe beforehand you don't really have as much capacity, or you're in a position where you weren't given the ability to have a lot of capacity. And it's like through this situation, you're working the muscle as much as you can so that when you have the freedom, you have a lot more strength to hold the capacity for all these wonderful things that will come in. Because I think you, as much as you're going to enjoy it, you're going to have to be there for other people, okay? So you are currently building your capacity to be able to support those loved ones and those connections that are fulfilling. When they come into your life, you're going to be able to interact with them in a really meaningful way, where you're both going to be able to share and fulfill each other and pour into each other's cups, and to still have the ability to maintain your own cup and be quite stable in that. You're going to have stability, you're going to have capacity. It's going to be really freeing for you emotionally, I think. Anyway, if not one, the other, okay? And we also have here that when we get to this point, it's going to free up a lot of that capacity where I feel like we're going to be able to step out of or move on from this like emotional realm, or this wondering where our purpose is, or this healing mode. We're going to be able to start to embrace life. Oh, I'm getting full body chills. We're going to be able to embrace life in a very grounded, practical, reasonable, real world way, where we can take active steps that have real results to work towards whatever our goals, hopes are for the future. Like where we can work on a career, we can work on a business, we can work on skill building, we can work on a family potentially. For some of you, there could be family building here. But it's saying specifically the ability to be ambitious, diligent, goal-oriented, planner, consistent, star student, studious, grounded, loyal, faithful, and dependable. You are going to free up so much emotional, mental bandwidth. I think that you will be able to transcend whatever this inner critic situation is, and you will actually be able to start taking real world steps on building whatever it is you want your future to look like. So with that being said, it's very much a kudos to you. It's a confirmation with the second house here that speaks in terms of career, finances, possessions. So right now you may feel like you're at the bottom, getting something. There's some sort of lyrics about like, started at the bottom, now we're here. And then when we had that Magic song by Bruno Mars coming through, it was like 24 carats. So there is a potential to get to a point where you're going to be working for material possessions, where it's not just like, I don't know, I know obviously everyone's working for not just material possessions, but to like survive and stuff, right? Or to have security and financial security or whatever. But it's like you will have leftover. You will have the room to buy things that you like, okay? Potentially fancy things that you like, whatever that looks like for you. And with Mercury here, you will be adept at it. And with Leo, you could potentially have the ability to really draw in people in a way that will be really beautiful, so that when you embrace this energy, people will listen. They'll take in what you have to say seriously, okay? So that's everything that I have for you today, group 4. I still haven't stopped getting the chills here. Hopefully this is meaningful, insightful, helpful to you in some way, and I'll see you all in another one. Take care. Definitely, if these videos resonate, like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. Yeah. Okay, welcome in group 5. If you chose the Silver Sheen Obsidian, so beautiful, and the Daughter of Sticks, then this will be your group reading today for who's being funky. So we have the 10 of Wands, the Emperor, the 4 of Wands. I don't know why I'm saying it now. Maybe some of you have come from group 4. I feel like I need to insert a message here for group 4 before I actually wrap it up that I've missed during the reading, is because we talked a lot about you and your situation that was going on at the time, and that we didn't really look at who was being funky in your life. And I feel like it was for a reason. There's a really good chance that a lot of people are being funky, or if there's like one specific person in a situation that you can't get away from them, that would seem significant to me with the 6 of Swords being in reverse, where it's like you want to start again, you want to start fresh, but there's somebody here that you actually, there's a situation or a person that you can't get away from just yet. And so it's like very much a time for being self-focused and self-driven. But it was like something there as well with, yes, potentially other people have been funky, or a lot of people, or everyone around us, or key people in our lives, but it very much could have been like we were in a funk stat and we needed to break the cycle of that funk, okay? There potentially could have been one specific person that you both are in a bit of a funk in your relationship, and we will leave that there. I just felt like I needed to sort of clear that up so that everyone was, in the know. Anyway, with that being said, we will move forward. So, okay, what do we have here? Okay, group 5. So we have Cancer, Venus, the 3rd house, Aries, and Mars. Just one more thing for you, group 4. There was a message of being stabbed in the back and they don't want to tell you. So take what resonates there for that one. That could have been part and parcel of how you've come to the situation that you are in, or something that is still currently going on that is in the cycle. Could have been part of why you're being called to reevaluate, like, you know, parts of ourselves that we haven't before, so that when this sort of stuff happens, we're potentially more privy to it. But take what resonates there with that mention, okay? Yeah, much love, guys. Okay, welcome in group 5. So we have a message that I channeled before we started pulling cards with sit up straight or work on your posture, hold your head high and take up space. We also have the 3rd house with Cancer and Venus here as well. So there could be something here in which the way that you are meant to actually assert yourself or communicate should be in a self-assertive way. I feel like there could be a call here to allowing ourselves to be courageous where we need to be. And that you could have been carrying something that was too heavy for you, that you were not meant to. This could have been a family member's. This could have potentially been a codependent dynamic. This could have been a person that you lived with. I already mentioned family. This person could have kind of been a person who ruled the roost, and they could have potentially purposely kept you codependent. This could potentially have been a partner. I already talked about the family home. It seems to be coming through quite strongly, and Cancer does talk to me roughly about like the 4th house and the early family roots, childhood, you know, being dependent on our caregivers or you know, the providers in the family as well. So I'm definitely getting reiteration and confirmation of that. Venus also being like an altruistic, cooperative type of energy here. Also acknowledging that there is a lot of beauty and a lot of Cancer aspects that come through that are not always talked about in some of these readings, where they are very emotionally aware and intelligent. Yeah. Okay. So, there could be something here about maybe on your own, it was like hard to carry I just keep in mind, I'm going to say someone, it could be you or this person, right, who's being funky. It would be nice if we can continue it to talk about it as if the person coming through, we are staying on topic and on theme. Sometimes we have side messages come through that are for us, or our own energy could be coming through flipped, okay? You can always try a different group if this is not resonating with you. So someone here was carrying a very heavy load, and I think that their version of taking action or taking charge of the situation, taking control of their life, was actually entering into a relationship in order to ease the burden. It's like, I want to find someone I can share the load with, share the burden with, make it lighter for both of us, and we can really work together and we can do something in this life. It actually is kind of very powerful. And it's like something here where it could have started out as a more ambitious energy, or a younger, a more vulnerable energy, or a bit of a novice or amateur energy. Just take what resonates there for your situation. But there is along the way here, there is like the mastering of this, like, what is it, like taking control of your own life, just owning your own life. A lot of the time the fire signs can come through for me as just taking ownership for like everything, like potentially sometimes being more integrated than any other sign. I'm not always saying that they're honest. I'm just saying that they're very much like know who they are, and they're okay with that. Like it's not even a thing, right? It's just what it is. And so there's something here about like potentially being very integrated. And yeah, I don't know, this actually feels like good energy. I was like ready for deception to come through, but it's really not. We also have like the Page of Pentacles here as well. So maybe having this union come together, or the ability to lighten the load here, or the ability to take charge of our lives or take control of our lives in some way to make things happen. And to like, maybe you seen a person and you were like, that's my person, and you made it happen. And it's like, it was something, I actually feel like a huge celebratory energy. Like I want to cry of happiness because it was so good that this happened, that you guys come together in some way. And it somehow allowed you to step into like a freedom of your spirit for like soul exploration and like a joy in the spirit. This is so nice. So nice to channel this energy. I want to cry out of happiness and sheer disbelief that it was able to come together and that it worked and it continues to work, and it's so good, and there's so much passion here. It's like really incredible. Anyway, and there's like a mastering of whatever this is, and I feel like this is like the healthy version of the wand suit, where it's like when we're not being so defensive. I don't know if it's even about that. We'll just keep going. Anyway, so something here where it's like when we were able to find an effective way to take ownership of our lives and half the burden and really embrace those that we had passion for and bring them on the journey with us, we were able to really like master this part of our lives in some way. We were able to really become the expert at this in our lives, and it's opened up this freedom for what could have been children or could have been career. It's like the ability to focus on the very practical things in life that can help the very foundation and stability that we have. There also could have been a need to, once we kind of achieved this mastery in this particular area of our life, that we then realized that we actually needed to focus on more of like the security or these practical kind of routine things in the day-to-day to be able to actually have like an increased sense of self-worth in some way, or to have a higher capacity to be able to sustain this long term. So it does seem this is like very good energy. And so I think we talked about like being able to assert ourselves through our communication, but it seems like in a very harmonious way, but we're not giving up on our standards or our boundaries. It's like we're able to communicate for the best of both worlds, for everyone, in a win-win situation where we are not forsaking ourselves. And it actually is really beautiful, and I think it does you wonders. So this could be, like I said, the inverse, where it could be who's being funky. So at this point in time, you could potentially be dealing with, I am seeing a child here, particularly a female child or a partner. It doesn't matter what their gender is. It could potentially be you having gone through a funk after like maybe your whole relationship, like a romantic relationship or a very strong partnership, or even potentially talking on like terms of a divine counterpart, was all working really well, but then maybe there was almost like, I don't know if I'd want to say a stagnancy, but an immaturity in some type of like practical sense. And so it's like, who was being funky? I don't know if this was necessarily like you or if this was your person who was being funky, but it was like maybe they weren't really ready to put a lot of emphasis on like the working world or the ability to pay bills and stuff, and it could have potentially caused a little bit of like emotional like waves, like a rough patch or something like that, or a bit of a sadness or something. But I think there's like that being urged to take self-control. I feel like you potentially could mirror each other where maybe you are both kind of free-spirited souls and you really come together in perfect union, but you're both being asked to kind of, you know that you've become the expert in master in this one area and you've got that down, and now you're being asked to really ground into. It's like I very much am getting messages for you, but also we are still talking about who's being funky. Could be you, could be a partner, could be someone that you live with. Could be family, could be someone that you're dependent on or someone that is dependent on you. If this is a child, I feel like there's something about your child's naturally, like their second, I don't know, part of their innate way of being is they could have a fire sign or an energy of like a fire energy, and they could have been self-assertive and they could know what they want and go after what they want. And there's something like, I have to say, we have Sagittarius, we have Aries. I don't know. I mean, we have Mars. It's very much an action-taking energy. Anyway, there could be a child here that, because of something that you have done, you could be the caretaker for them and you could have communicated in a very harmonious way, in a way that's actually kind of protective to their Venus energy. They could, I don't know if I want to say, like, there's something about you or this child that could be very beautiful. Something about you that could be very protective of a child, or if you are a carer, even if you do not have children, you could be very protective over people that are in close proximity, family, or that you live with, or even really good friends that feel like family, where you're able to communicate things to them that in a very loving way that does protect them, and it's very much like condoning what is best for them, what's in their best interest, right? Like being genuinely happy for another person as well. And if this is a child, there's something here where you may have really been able to set the foundation for them to embrace this part of themselves so that they can be a self-assertive person, so that, kind of what we talked about, right? I'm starting to get those kind of repeat messages come through. So we're just going to take a moment and see if there's anything else here that we need to look at. No, that's everything that I have for you today, Group 5. Hopefully this is helpful to you in some way. This was really lovely. Thank you for being here with us. If you haven't already, I'd love it if you subscribed. And if this means, I don't know, if this is helpful, definitely like, comment, all the good stuff. I'll see you in another one. Take care.